Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I have a very exciting week. Uh, as you can see on the screen, I did move into a barge. A bunch of my skills did go ahead and complete, so I was able to get into the barge, and I have been enjoying it. I was waiting until I had a chance to record to get in and kind of show everyone how I fit it out and everything like that. And there was a large mining fleet going on during my lunch break, and I could not resist myself. So she has already been out on her maiden voyage. She has served me well. She is not quite paid off yet, and I'm going to go into how my finances currently look. They are not pretty. Um, but as we can see over here, I still have my venture. So if I did lose this, it would be a setback. I'd have to move back into my venture, mine everything back up until I could afford it again. That being said, I did luck out. The corporation that I'm with, they were very generous. They allowed me to buy the barge from them at cost of materials, which actually saved about 5 million. So what would have cost me 45 million was the cheapest one that I found. I was able to get this awesome ship for 40 million. So that worked out great. So we're going to go over how my finances have changed, or how my uh, assets versus liquid ISK has changed, and try not to laugh when you see this. But we are looking at an awesome total net worth of 105 million. So I broke the 100 million mark. However, hover over this and you can see that I have just over a million ISK. uh, yeah, that's not pretty to look at right now. Not a very big bankroll that I'm dealing with, but we can see that my combined assets, so that's everything I own in space, is worth almost 105 million. So we are progressing through the game and gaining our ISK back, which just a couple episodes ago I was sitting at around 30 million total ISK. So I'm that's a pretty good. I would say it's a pretty good jump. So a couple things have changed. I did get into mining barge. These have all been trained, and now I'm training. I have trained astrology 4, and I have mining 5. I have mining 5 training right now. So that's awesome. Um, we'll go into the fitting now. So our fitting looks like this. We have two Tech 1 strip miners up front, up on the highs. We have a compact afterburner, and that is because the compact version uses the least amount of CPU and power grid. And we have a survey scanner. So again, this is not an AFK build. This is a retriever. I'm going to go into the next thing I go into is why I chose the retriever, and compare the 3 barges and what their advantages and disadvantages are. And then on my low slots, I do have 3 Tech 2 mining laser upgrades. So that gives me 7.5 cubic meters per second. Whereas on the Venture, I had 3.8. So almost doubled my mining yield. So we'll go into our ship tree here, and we see that there's 3 barges. There is the Procurer, the Coveter, and the Retriever. And the Retriever is the one that I purchased. Um, so we're going to go into compare, and I know I did this once before, but we'll do it again, and we will compare the 3. So pricing. I guess the way I am, I gotta have the most expensive things. So I bought the one that was worth the most. However, when I looked at the market, I could have bought one for 44 million. It was like 43.8, something like that. So I could have bought one for that, but then I would have had to transport it, and I don't necessarily like moving big ships. Not only because I'm a target, but also because I don't have the patience. So, okay, so the difference is here. The first thing that I'm going to go into is our defenses, right? So we're going to go into total armor hit points and also shield hit points. So by a long shot, the Procurer has the most hit points. That's 11,000 hit points between armor and shield, and then your effective hit points goes up depending on your resist. And then the next biggest one is the Retriever, which is what I have. And this one is basically a piece of paper, um, but the question that comes up is, well, why would you choose each one of these, and why did I choose the Retriever? So we'll go into Procure. So 5,000 hit points, 6,000 hit points, and if you look at the bonuses, we can see that for every skill point, you get 6% bonus to the ship shield hit points. You get a 2% in strip miner yield, and then you get a duration decrease in ice harvester and gas harvester. And then the roll bonus is 50% damage and hit points to drones. So the Procure is a tank. This is usually what you see AFK miners using, just simply because of that. If someone is coming in for a gank, it is going to take a crew as opposed to possibly solo, or a multi-box ganker that has three alts. It's going to take them a little while to get set up, and this ship can probably get away. The next thing is the Coveter. Now, if you look at the Coveter, we can see that there's a 3% increase in strip miner yield. So this is going to pull in more ore per cycle. And then a better ice harvester duration reduction, gas harvester reduction, and then you also get the range. So this means that there's less moving to hit the rocks that you need to hit. But I'm going to tell you right now, this has a very small ore hole, and we're going to go into that. I'll bring that up next as a compare point. Did I pass it? I must have passed it. There's volume. There we are. Mining hold capacity. Okay. So the Procure has 16,000 cubic meters. The Coveter has a little bitty tiny ore hold. So that means it's pulling it's pulling in ore faster, but it's going to fill up faster, which means there's more trips. So there's a use case for this, and we'll go into that. That's going to come. That's going to come next. I'm going to go into the retriever bonuses. Retriever bonus is 3% strip miner yield. So I'm pulling in more ore per cycle. Again, I get the reduction in cycle time for ice harvester and gas harvester, and then this huge 5% bonus to ship or hold capacity. So while the base is 30 or 27 and a half, for every skill that I train into it, it goes up by 5%. Keep that in mind when we look at my ship again. You're going to see that my ore hold is almost 32,000 cubic meters. So that's another 5,000. That's another venture size. And then the roll bonus, 10% strip miner yield. So again, I get to pull in more. And then the reduction in ice harvester and gas harvester. So when would you use procure? Like I said, if you are trying to AFK mine, if you're baiting, there's a thing called a battle procure, which I've seen, where you it it can do quite a bit of damage. It's not really made for mining. It's made to bait and then trap. So there's also that usage for it. But mostly for AFK mining. And also, I've seen people use these in low sec and in high sec or in null sec. If there's a QRF or a quick reaction fleet standing by, where if they're about to get ganked, the fleet then responds and kills the ganker. So that is a use case for that as well. And it's sometimes the person or the pilot will put a warp scrambler on it so that the person that is trying to gank them cannot get away, and therefore, and then the fleet comes and kills the ganker. So that has been a thing that I have seen. And then the coveter. So the coveter, here's the use case for the coveter. If you are doing group mining operations, okay? So what you have is you have a coveter, you have multiple coveters out there, and let's say you have a industrial command ship, whether it be a porpoise or an orca out there who's providing boosts, which means you're going to mine faster. And what you're doing is you're taking that ore into your hold temporarily. You're filling a canister, and then whoever's providing boosts is going to take those cans and suck it in, and you're doing work for a corporation. We've done that before in a couple of corporations and alliances that I've been in, where we'll do fleet ops and we'll wipe out a complete moon pop. So well, we've done it in low sec and we've done it in null sec, and there's roracles out there. So let's not forget about these massive beasts. So yes, and there could also be a roracle on grid, which have not flown. I have no desire to fly a 5, 10, or 5, 6, or 7 bill ship and risk losing it. I don't make enough for that to be a small loss. So, but I mean, I have been on grid with oracles, and they provide excellent boosts, and that's exactly where a coveter would come in if you're looking for a cheaper solution. And then there's also the exhumer equivalents, which when we move into exhumer, I will go over those pretty much similarly to how I went over these. So let's jump into our ship here, and then we will go over the finances that led up to where I am. Okay, so starting here, actually what I did, where am I here? Nope, that's Galante Industrial. Where did I start? I think here. I sold off my ore that I had mined for a period of time. And then I sold, I think, a different type of ore. And then I sold, I sold my moon goo as well. And what I did with that is, if I would have reprocessed it myself, I would have only gotten 50%. Now I would have still made the ore was still less than the amount of goo I would have gotten, but in order to get more, I have been making friends in this corporation that I'm in, and I was able to work with a person who said that they would break the ore down for me and then give me the goo. And in exchange, he would take nothing. So you can really meet some friendly people in Eve. I have met very, very friendly people. I've met very mean people too, but I've met, for the most part, very, very friendly people that are looking to help, that are just looking to enjoy the game. So this person in my corporation broke the ore down for me, reprocessed it, and then gave me the materials back. And because of that, I was able to get more bang for my buck. And then here's the 40,000 that I paid for the ship. So what happened was they gave it to me in a contract and on an honor system. That's why it shows up as a player donation. I donated it back into the corporation, but I paid out the 40 million to get the ship. So I did that, and that brought me down to about 5 million, and the fitting itself was about 11 million. So then I had to I had to sell some more stuff. As we can see, my sell-off is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. I was kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel here, and then I bought all my fittings, and that actually brought me down to 706,000 ISK, which is not a lot. And then every day I do the daily, so I'll log in, and I will. Sometimes I have to kill one, sometimes I have to kill 5, and that gives me skill points, which I will eventually use. Player donation here for 200,000 ISK. Someone who watched the first video that was released enjoyed it, and they sent me a donation. I don't ask for that. I don't expect that. This is just something I'm doing for fun. If my channel never gets monetized, it doesn't affect me either way. I'm just doing this to help other pilots that are interested in industry and to do something for fun. The only thing I hope is that everybody enjoys the content that I put out. And so these are all bounty prizes, and I bought something. I forget what I bought. Oh, I bought my drones. I did not originally have drones, but I bought hobgoblins. Is that what I bought? I gotta look. What are you doing? Yes. I bought hobgoblins because they Yes, I bought hobgoblins because they do the specific damage for the serpentis wraps that we run into in this area of space. And then everything else is just bounty prizes. So, slowly making the money back here. And if we look at my current mining hold here, we can see that from the little bit of mining that I've done, I'm up to 25 point. Oh, you probably, I don't know if you can see that, but I'm up to 20. So let's just say 25 mil. So about half of the ship has been paid for. So, and that's one mining fleet for, I think we were on grid for an hour, and then just a couple of trips on my breaks at work. I'll go out and I'll fill. I'll take a break from work, just a normal break, and jump out on grid, fill my hold, and come back. So this has been very, very casual mining. I will say once you mine with a fleet and you get those boosts, it is hard to go back to mining alone. So the fitting, I did not fit the rigs. I was going to play a small game, and I was going to mine, and then I was going to strip everything down and kind of show you how I fit it, but everybody knows how to fit a ship, I'm sure, by now. Um, but one of the things that I did do, that I didn't put my rigs in yet, and I'm going to show what the changes are here. So 15.17 seconds. So this would be a 16-second align time. I do have this, which reduces me down to a 14-second align time. And then I threw in this stuff to just kind of give me a little bit more tank for the rats that show up. The hobgoblins do a much better job, and I'm actually able to deploy 4 until I hit drones 5, which we will work towards that, because having a large ore hold, you want to try and fill it up as fast as you can. So we will eventually have mining drones that will work in conjunction with our mining to fill the ore hold faster, get us more ore per second, and go from there. So I will go ahead and throw these rigs on. The thing with rigs, with everything except the the Tech 3 cruiser, if you remove a rig, you will destroy it. So here we are. We are now good to go. We have about we have almost 20,000 effective HP. It's not bad. We can get ganked if we're not paying attention. And then we have our drones. We have the 4 hobgoblins that protect us. So that has been this week. It has been a very exciting week because I was so excited to get this ship, and it is such a huge improvement over the Venture. I mean, we already saw it. You know, the amount that I mine in a single cycle now is amazing. In 2 cycles, I have more ore than I did. I'm carrying like 6,000 cubic meters of ore, which is more than the Venture could haul. Just fill up so much faster. So I don't fill up so much faster. I harvest so much more ore now. And what we'll be working for, hopefully within probably the next video, is getting our tier 2 or tech 2 strip miners with crystals. And the crystals I'll go over because there's three types. There's an A type, B type, and C type. And we'll go over the use cases for those as I put them in. Because there are times where I will use A. There will be times where I'll use an A or I use a B. And I don't have a specific reason right now why I would use a type C. But I will go over the use cases for the type C. So, yeah. So even if we were to simulate the ship, we're just going to see how much of an improvement that we would get. Why it makes sense to get the Tech 2 version. So we look at 7.5 right now, and we are going to throw these in there. And even with without crystals in it, I actually mine less, so I get 6 cubic meters per second. But if we throw our simple asteroid, I'm going to say we'll throw type A's in. Already 8.9, so I'm not even skilled into these yet. And I'm doing 8.9 on the type A. And on the type B, I'm doing 9.9. So, pretty big improvement over the Tech 1. So we definitely want to work into getting these Tech 2s in there, getting our crystals up there, and then after we have that, then we're going to start moving into our into getting our drones. And then once we have our drones, we will start working towards our exhumer. So that's the path that I'm outlining right now of how I'm going to progress into my next phase. Once we're into an exhumer, then we're going to work on our reprocessing skills so that all this ore that I'm getting, I'm able to break it down and make better use of the minerals. In order to use the crystals, we need to have reprocessing. So if we go into our skills here, we can actually see that we have once mining 5 is done, so that allows me to use the modulated strip miner 2. And then once we get to reprocessing 4, this is where it allows me to do simple ore reprocessing. So simple ore reprocessing lets me break down Veldspar, Scordite, Pyroxers, and Plagioclase, or whatever the pronunciation is. So every time that we go into this, we're able to process 2% more. And once we get to 3, once we finish 3, we're able to use Tech 1 versions of the A, B, and C crystals. And then once we do level 4, then I'm able to use the Tech 2 crystals, which once we get there, I'm going to probably do mining barge one more time. And before I do any of these, we will probably fit in getting our drone skills up so that we can start using mining drones. And that will just increase the amount of ore that we're getting as we're out on grid, which is going to help us. And then once we get to that, then we'll start working into getting the minerals that we need so that we can start to build things. So a very exciting path to go through. This is, again, getting to this point has been very exciting for me. I hope it's been exciting for you to watch. But yeah, I mean that's been this week in a nutshell. So I hope everybody enjoyed. If you do, like, subscribe, Hit me up in game if you find out who I am. Some of you already know. Uh, and I hope everybody has a fun time in game. Thanks for watching.